Hello. The sun moves into a new gate today. It's the 24th of October, and it's actually 23:26, so it's almost tomorrow. And this is BST, of course. So I'm only talking about in the UK. Wherever you are, the sun might already have transited in. But today in the UK, we have two suns. And so this is gate 28. You can see it here on the slide that I've made up. It is called the Preponderance of the Great. It is the gate of the game player. You can see the brown triangle on the lower left side. That's the Splenic Centre, and that's where gate 28 is sitting. In the red square, which is the sacral centre, there is the grounding, which is coming through gate 27, which is the gate of caring. So this is our second sun transit for today. Yeah, so how are you doing? Moving into the game player. Gate 28 is it's in the splenic center. It's pointing down to the root center, which is where its harmonic is. And the harmonic is gate 38, the gate of opposition. Together, they form the channel of struggle, a design of stubbornness. The 28th gate is the game player. It's the risk taker, the gambler. It's an extraordinary gate. Oh, it is very much at the heart of our intuitive system. In many ways, it's the beginning of our intuitive system. Being a splenic gate, there is a fear associated with gate 28, and it's the fear of death, which is not simply about being afraid of life coming to an end. It's the fact that life can come to an end without any kind of purpose ever being found. This is what is so frightening for gate 28. It's a gate that seeks purpose in life, which is why it's willing to gamble with life in order to find its purpose, in order to find that one thing that will give value to its process in the world. The fear of death, it's a primal fear. And it's a death that is understood as a fear of whether or not life is of value. Just as the 32 is afraid that their work in this life will be a failure, the 28 is afraid that their way in this life will be a failure. That they themselves, their whole life, what they live for, is not really worthwhile. This is one of the deepest themes of individuality, to see whether life really is of value. And that theme is rooted here in the 28th gate. In the heading of the 32, we found that the only thing that endures is change. When we come to the heading for the 28, it says the transitoriness of power and influence, which is the same thing. It's all about change. It's about evolution. It's an ongoing process. The transitoriness of power and influence is what the preponderance of the great is all about. For gate 28, life itself is both the challenge and the game. Risks and consequences, they are an individual process, and they lead to knowing in the now. This knowing informs the collective of its current mutation, and it can lead the collective too, as long as the collective buy into it. The development of intuitional potential is based on trial and error. Being a part of the knowing circuit, this is a deeply individual process. The risks are always taken alone, and so are the consequences. The individual in society is key to direction, but that role is fraught with difficulty, because any change in direction is the result of a mutation, and this comes from the format of this individual circuit, the 360, that channel between the root and the sacral, the channel of mutation. And if the mutation is going to be successful, if it's going to replace the old with the new, the tribe and the collective must be convinced of its value. The knower who does not know what knowing to fight for or how to fight for it will face enormous resistance. If you look at the individual process as it runs through the splenic system, You find the integration channels. We talked about this when we were looking at gate 57. Integration are 4 channels made up of blackbirds, blackbirds, pigeons, and squirrels. There you go. Oh, it's 5 of them. Integration is made up of 4 channels that run, that form connections. They form connections with the 20 in the throat, with the 10 in the G center, the 57, of course, in the splenic, and the 34 in the sacral. It's the complex channel that is about basic individual survival, the mechanic for that. It is the archetype of the intuition that is empowered by the sacral, leading to the correct form in order to be able to survive in the now. But this is an inherently selfish process. Now, the integration channels, they stand alone. They're not part of any circuitry. Integration is not in any way connected with the other. It is not an empowerment system as such. It is simply about personal survival. And yet, personal survival alone is not enough. In the presence of the 28th gate, integration changes its quality. It becomes less absorbed in its own selfish survival and is able to provide some kind of outlet to the now for the 28th gate. The 28th gate is looking to shed itself of the fear of the 57th gate, the fear of tomorrow. It's not enough just to be able to defeat that fear of tomorrow in terms of survival. Survival alone is not satisfying. There has to be value in the life process. There has to be a purpose in the life process. Finding that purpose comes through learning how to be effective. If you're caught on the mundane plane and are unable to be secure in your survival, you don't have time for transformation. No, you don't have time to come to lectures and watch endless YouTube videos and learn about how to transform your life. And most human beings on the planet, in this material world that we live in, this planet we call home, most people are caught up in the struggle, in the basic survival and the focus on survival. And that is so enormous that they don't have the luxury of speculating whether or not there's any purpose in life. At the very foundation of the 28th gate is an understanding that the pursuit of purpose is something that has to be built over time, because you have to be prepared. You have to have the details and be secure in the world in terms of your survival in order to be able to indulge in the ultimate purpose. The 28th gate in a defined splenic system connected to the 38th gate in the root is a very different process, because this is the full channel, the channel of struggle and stubbornness, and it pulls the focus away from the 28 being on its own and finding its purpose, and instead struggle seeps in everywhere and it depletes the energy, because now you are constantly dealing with things and struggling with things and just kind of firefighting, really, rather than actually being able to focus on what is that one thing that will bring purpose to your life. Within the context of human design, there's only one way to find your purpose. It is embodied in your profile. And to attain your profile, to wear that costume, that role in life, you have to operate correctly as yourself. Before you can attain that role, there has to be some kind of deconditioning. Strategy and authority are the focus that give you the opportunity to truly seek purpose, because they eliminate resistance and make it so much easier to deal with the mundane plane, to allow you the potential through correct decision making to have your purpose find you. We never find our purpose, it finds us. as we move along through this journey. And it's not something that comes to us early in life. Usually the mechanic of the profile and the incarnation cross, they don't kick in maybe till our 40s, maybe even until Chiron return around 50 or so. There has to have been all that life experience that comes in. And whilst we might play out some of the qualities of the profile and the incarnation cross, the true power of them start to come through later on. The Splenic Centre is the home of our oldest and only existential awareness, our body consciousness. It's that gut feeling, those little hits of sensation, the goosebumps, the strange smell, hairs on the back of your neck. The 28th gate is a conceptualizing gate. This is the first step of any awareness process. The potential of intuition is to know in the now whether it is of value to struggle or not. Where the mechanical fighter in gate 38 will not listen, the game player in 28 must. Individuality is acoustic. So it is literally the ability to respond acoustically to the potential of the struggle. And in that response, because this is spontaneous, the Splenic Centre is spontaneous, it's taking place existentially in the now. Because of that, we have the awareness of whether to struggle or not the awareness to transform or not. The awareness potential is the stubbornness to listen, to make sure that one listens in order to take the best possible risks. This is all about risk-taking in this gate of the game player. So the grounding for the sun in gate 28 is the earth in gate 27, the sacral gate of nourishment, the gate of caring. This is the gate at the other end of the channel to gate 50, the gate of values, which we were in during the last sun transit. And above the lines of the 27, it says the enhancement of the quality and the substance of all activities through caring. Without nourishment and caring, nothing can survive. And gate 27 is a role gate. It gives us the roles of caring, the strategies for caring. When you're taking risks and trying to find purpose in life, that thing that makes life worthwhile, and you're doing it on your own because you're individual, some nourishment and caring along the way might not go amiss. How's this one landing with you? Do you have any integration without the influence of the 28 in your design? If so, it might be something to bring your awareness to, whether or not you feel any difference in the way that the self-empowerment of integration becomes empowerment through the influence of this transit. I have a friend and she has all of integration, no 28 or 38 in her chart. When she's alone, she's completely self-absorbed, focused on her own thing, doesn't consider the other at all. They're really not on her horizon. Her partner has the 28, and she says that she really feels that change in herself when he comes into her aura. And it does change her from being that self-absorbed, self-focused person into someone who actually is aware of the other and wants to do something to empower the other in some way. It's fascinating how the mechanic works. It's something to play with anyway. I've been teaching an LYD these last few weeks, and it's such a gift to take people through this material and to see the aha moments that come and listen to their sense of wonder at what happens in their lives when they begin to experiment. Ra always said, don't take this material on faith. Try it, experiment with it, bring it into your own system and see what happens. See what value it has in your life. And then you will know whether it's for you or not, whether there is something to be gained in committing to the system. Because if you're going to work with this material, it is a commitment. It can be hard work. It can be challenging. And there's nothing like it. So this is our introduction to Gate 28, the overview to the game player. I look forward to sharing the lines with you as we go through this transit, and I will see you a little bit later on for the first line. Thank you for joining me. Go gently.